Welcome to this Hyperlocal Bible, which is on the subject of public notices. I tried to write something, I wanted to write something. I felt that as a member of the advisory board of Independent Community News Network, I should say or write something. I'm just too busy with news, or maybe not that organised to actually write something. But I'd come up with a smart title like King Canute, etc. There's inevitability. I think there were recent articles about Rachel Reeves, about public notices to do with licensed premises, etc., that there was a feeling that this could mean the end of licensed premises, of people requiring to advertise in local newspapers or whatever the word newspaper means. And you feel that this is a subject not going away. There's about £60 million worth of what many will describe as a government subsidy going to newspapers, and take that 60 million, and that's a big dent. They say that could be the end for the big boys, as we call them. I don't know if that's true or not, but they have to, whatever I think, as two independent newspapers, digital newspapers, they have to fight their corner. So News Media Association fight the corner, Society of Editors, of which I'm a member, they have to fight the corner. What else are they supposed to do? Going, oh well, it was good while it lasted, sorry folks. And we always have to have in mind that a lot of things to do with anything reorganisation. We're doing a lot about local government reorganisation. The same thing, you have to think about jobs and livelihoods, people's lives, etc., which is always at the forefront. And so that's where you'd like to think there has to be some sort of arrangement, organisation, happy medium, somewhere along the line. It's not beyond the wit of man to help or support all newspapers. Yes, there's an argument, a very good article written by Carl Hancock as the chief executive of the Nub News. It said he ends it. A couple of things. He ends it with saying it's not about democracy, it's about balance sheets. Carl may be right. He does say he's almost given up speaking to politicians because he feels, you go up to politicians. I was at 10 Downing Street 2 years ago and spoke to Lucy Fraser at a reception of Culture, Media and Sport, and you're making that point, independent, etc., etc. And I was there back in March and spoke to Lisa Nandy, and I can give all the examples I like, I guess. What's the example to Lisa Nandy? But operator, because she goes on about Wigan all the time, Wigan this. And she does. She's an MP for Wigan, so she should. And I said the idea of an operator's licence, and for a garage. So the idea that this garage doesn't have choice. So for example, you're a garage in Harlow, and I can even see the debate about the word choice. That's why I find it hard to write something. So I'm going to ramble on and see where this goes, and people can pick it up should they wish. But it's the argument that, say in Harlow, you're an operator's garage, you want to get an operator's licence, etc., etc., and you're told by the traffic commissioners, vis-a-vis the government, no, you have to go on a printed newspaper. Even though it's going to cost you double. These are hard-pressed people. They don't have a choice. Now, News Media Association will also have a portal, and we'll come to that, which therefore it is digital, but, no, it's a public notice, and I think there has to be some sort of qualifying time, or a bar for what the public should notice, and that's always my argument in this ramble. And it's also the price thing. Who comes up with this price? So, for example, Harlow Council accept licensed premises memos, licensed premises applications from on digital. Your Harlow's fine. Digital, it's the only game in town. And it's 5 million pages a year, and people see it. The public notice is noticed by the public because it's seen on your Harlow. Over on Thurrock, where there's still it has to be equivalence, has to be. And what's the implication? Well, example, somebody who I would charge £199 is being charged, they tell me, £415 plus VAT, so £450. So that's a little takeaway. In the heart of Grays is being charged £450. That's not, where did that figure come up, etc.? It's not what you're worth, which you negotiate, but I just don't think that's fair. And it's a customer, and we're always talking about customer-centric in journalism. Whatever part of our newspaper is about the customer, and it's not fair on that customer to charge to it. It may well not be fair to charge £199. Maybe that's where you've got to suck it up. There must be a fairer price for the customer, and there must, whether it's the takeaway, whether it's the garage, or whether it's the planning application. I think that's true about keeping it customer centered. I know that I start arguing it's not fair or democracy, but the democracy thing still stands. The fact that here in the one, I had two examples in the last few years. One was Amazon, a big Amazon warehouse right on the edge of a housing area, and it was overshadowed, literally overshadowed. And people, when it started to be, but where did we see the planning application? Where did we see the planning notice? It was either on a lamppost or it was on a printed newspaper. Really goes out to about 50 houses in a town of 100,000. But there is that planning portal argument. No, it has to be noticed by the public. It has to be there, and that's an argument that may be really, really low down on the mix. But people from Harlow should have been entitled to see that on something like your Harlow. That's not an argument about taking away £60 million of subsidy. It's about reforming the system. Conserve the good, reform the bad, and at a price, and that's really important. But it feels there's sort of no black and white here, So, but also, yes, everybody has to keep fighting their corners. But there is a sort of King Canute thing here, and I think that's a concern. I want to squeeze in the analogy for the whole of local, for printed newspaper or legacy, whatever you want to call it. The idea that they said in the 19th century, when it came to finding oil, you went up to the, say, east coast of America, and they went out on their boats to find the whales because that's where they got the oil. And then somebody said, hey, they've discovered oil out west. Go west, young man. And that's where everybody's discovering oil, etc. And what did the people do who were hunting the whales? They bought bigger boats. And I think we're still going to need a bigger boat. No, you're not. You're going to need a smaller boat or no boat. And I think that's where we are with this. But people have to fight their corners. But as I said, your newspaper is for readers and our clients. Is what can I do for my client? And charging £450 to a little takeaway doesn't seem very fair or right or part of our mission statement. And likewise, that's where public notices. If you, yes, here we are this is now in 2025, and it's not going away. It's not going away, and I think the portal thing, it's a good try and well done. It's cute, but no, it's not reader centered, and I think that's where we should remain. And as I said, for the takeaway or the garage in Harlow or somebody, again, the housing developments that are going on here in this town. It's not fair, it's not right, and it's not part of our credo as newspapers, as we were originally set up to be at the heart of the community. And that's where I shall leave this Hyperlocal Bible on public notices. Thank you. Bye-bye.